And welcome, guys.
We don't have anything prepared for today. We just thought we'd come and chat and just have a good old chat.
And we lost 2 podcasts.
We did. But that's okay. This is life. You lose things and you buy new things as well.
And we're bullheads.
We're bullheads.
So if you're watching this series, we sometimes say what episode we're on and whatnot. I think we should discontinue saying that because I feel like we might lose podcasts in the future as well.
Well, let's just say from this point forward, we'll just say welcome back.
Yeah.
Right, sounds good.
Then we can just put the podcast number in the description.
Now, one of the topics I wanted to start it off with was evolution. Now, you're probably confused because what the hell is Ray talking about? Evolution? What are you talking about?
Like a caterpillar turning into a going into a cocoon.
Similar.
Into a butterfly.
Yeah.
Like a logo.
It's a good what's the word for it? Analogy for what I'm about to get into.
Caterpillar into a cocoon. Butterfly. Evolution.
So it's a good analogy for what I'm about to get into. But when we started Dynamicrecov, it was not a personal training based idea.
No, it wasn't.
So Dynamicrecov, the actual first logo was that. That was the first logo. That was the first design that we. I brought it in because my client loves it.
For the podcast?
I brought it because I needed to charge it, and the charger was here, and I didn't have one at home. That's the first reason.
Okay.
The second reason I brought it.
Just to show how much of a buffet it is.
The second reason was because my client actually really likes using it, so I'll bring it. But it got me thinking. This is how we started. We started off with an idea, turned into a concept, turned into physical, actual products.
We were drop shipping.
We started off with drop shipping.
Attempt to drop ship. We didn't get any sales, did we?
No, we did not. The only sales that went through was from us.
Yeah, we made the first sales.
We made the first sales.
We were the first drop shipping customers of our own business.
But
which is funny.
It's amazing to like sort of put into words like what a concept can actually do, like what it can actually generate for your.
Well, show them the product.
Oh yeah, it's just a gun.
No, it's not just a gun.
It's the gun.
You use it.
I actually use it
all the time.
You probably hear that through the camera, but well. Anyway.
But look, we got
comes
all
with
these
different
attachments.
bits.
You know what? I don't think I've ever seen a gun this advanced on the shelves in Sydney.
No.
Look, I don't know about you guys. If you do know some places that have all these different types of attachments, we have a heating attachment, a cooling attachment, this one for your spine as well.
And this one, you chuck this in the freezer and all the little beads go cold. Every time I use this gun, it makes me go back and think of like where it all actually started. So when the idea came to fruition with Brendon and I, after a long day's work, came over to my house, sat down, and we
Just
literally...
to give you context, we were PTs at the time.
PTs.
So like we...
got up early and then we'd like just chill throughout the day together.
We realised like PTs have the best opportunities to start businesses. Just because of this. This was my theory, right? And this is what we came to at the time. We did our work in the morning and we finished around 10, 11. And I was like, hey, Ray, what are you doing? I went over to his house. And it was like 11 o'clock during the day. You know, not everyone has the freedom to be free at 11, 12 o'clock. This is where most PTs would usually go to the gym, eat food because they haven't eaten food since early morning around 5 a.m. or so.
We actually came together to sleep.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Oh,
I slept on his,
on the couch.
No, you had that mat, the
the acupuncture mat.
Acupuncture mat. And then we were sitting around and
which was another Dynamicrecov product.
It was. And then I was like, oh, Ray, you know, something that I've always wanted to do since the start of school was start a business.
And then we came to the name and the name just sort of went back and forth and I was
he made the name.
I made the name. I was like, well, Dynamic Recovery, we looked that up. That's already been taken. So why don't we just call it Dynamicrecov? And just take the ERY out of the recovery.
Oh my God, every time someone calls us and is like, oh, where are you calling me from? Like, what's your business called? I'm like, Dynamic Recovery without the ERY.
Far out. But that's that's just that's the big throwback. That's about a year ago now.
Just over a year, like a year and a bit now.
Year and a bit.
So basically, we started drop shipping, just because we wanted to. Our mission at the time was to provide people with recovery equipment because we believed at the time that there was
A bit of a hole.
a hole in the market. Like there's lots of companies that sell recovery equipment, but we didn't really have, we didn't really see too many that had everything that we wanted personally. So like I would go to a place like looking for a massage gun or, bands and stuff like that. But then
Nothing
I didn't
was
go
affordable.
to. Yeah.
That was the thing. I
was
think the affordability and the ease.
No, the fact that it had everything.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to like Red Bull, for example, just give people context, and I'll get one thing from there. Then I'll have to go to the Decathlon to get another thing. Then I have to go somewhere else to get the other things.
It was never in
what
one hub.
we wanted was like a place where it had everything in there, like ice baths, saunas, massage guns.
Yeah.
So it's just like a one-stop shop for all recovery equipment because we were training hard and we're like, you know, it would be nice, a good massage gun,
and the
a
more
good acupuncture mat.
The more we looked into it, the more we realized how many people had just started doing it too. Like not the drop
was
shipping,
massive.
not just the drop shipping, but the recovery side of things. Like when you obviously do drop shipping or you do something that's outside your realm, you do research into it. So we decided let's do some research into it, and we found all these other companies that had been doing it for obviously a little bit longer than we had, a lot longer than we had.
Yeah, we're just doing market research, it's called.
Yeah.
Assessing the market, seeing what the market's selling at that time.
And we were just like, wow, like there was maybe 3-4 people that were doing what we were doing. And I was like, oh, okay.
My favourite, and I don't know if you remember them, Recovery Project.
The Recovery Project and Neurocov.
Yes.
They were like the two big ones at the time. That
Recovery
we were sort of
Project, check them out. Give them a little.
give them a little plug.
Give them a little plug.
They actually had really
They're
good
actually
products.
Good, yeah.
They had heaps good products.
If I want to buy like a ice bath, I'll probably go there.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're actually a good brand.
Yeah.
Bit on the pricey side, but I feel like for that type of market, you want quality. But that's something you want to use long term.
100%.
Yeah.
There's quality and there's quantity. So you'll see that in like a drop shipping site. You'll know that they've just literally gone through Shopify, chucked something up, and have gone, yep, this is the product, this is what it is, this is the price.
We did hours and hours of research to find the best products, everything.
You don't put
obviously it came to no fruition. We got no sales or anything, but it was fun. The whole process of learning how to start a business, working out the plan, all that stuff.
Because you always saw online, it was just like someone saying, start getting into drop shipping, it's easy, just do X, Y, Z, and you only have to do this. And you're like, all right.
All those gurus. We actually had a coach.
We actually did have a coach for like a month, and then we let him go. But maybe that's something we could look into the future, because that's definitely like it's more
honestly,
enticing.
I
to
do
look
see
into
us maybe starting another little recovery
for sure.
site, I guess. Shop, if you
a
do
shop
say.
for sure.
Like a little shop thing where people can buy this type of stuff from us, because a lot of we're mobile PTs. I'm sure they know if they're watching our podcast. And we don't really bring full gyms to your house, you know. It's pretty impossible for me to bring a whole gym set up in my Honda 30, you know. So, so what we do bring is stuff that is a lot more functional. I bring a lot of exercise bands or loop bands, and those things I can get a full body workout in. It ranges from 10 kilos up to 60 kilos of resistance, but then I can add 2 bands to make it even heavier, right? Yeah. I can carry that in a little small duffel bag with cones, skipping ropes. But what I'm trying to say with this is that stuff we feel like can be put on a site that will be able to be used by a lot of people that might only want to work out from their home. And if you have stuff that you can work out from home, you won't need to actually go to a gym. Yeah. That's what we're thinking of doing.
That's the whole thing.
That's what our brand is about. Making exercise easy and simple. Yeah.
Well, the one thing that it made me realize was like we only put maybe 3-4 months of like actual dedication, hard work into it, and you come out with all this like extra knowledge you didn't think you had, but now talking about it now, a year later,
it makes you realize like
we understood the market. We learnt about the people that were in the industry. We learnt about the products that they were selling, how they were upselling it, where they were getting it from, like how long the shipping would take. So there was like all these little like...
Yeah, but it was 3 to 4 months of 3 heads coming together and working hard on it. You know, like think of 3 people working I'd say pretty much full time.
Yeah, pretty much.
On a specific thing, and we were doing the marketing. If you go through our socials, you'll probably be able to see our band videos at the bottom. Are they still there?
I think they're still there.
Yeah, so if you scroll all the way down on Dynamicrecov social page, you'll be able to see our bands. You'll be able to see how shredded I was back in the day. This is before the beers came out. And we're trying to use those, what do you call them? Foam rollers and the peanut balls. That was funny.
Is there one here? Yeah, there's one there. And I don't know where the peanut ball is.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is our office, guys. It's pretty messy. We probably will never show them the rest of the office. This is just our wall.
This is just a good wall. No one ever sees the rest of it.
Should we tell them the wall? So, this is my garage, right? And I had plans to turn this garage into a gym.
That was the first.
That was my first idea.
This corner was going to be the photography wall for all the products that came in.
Yeah. And then I don't know what happened. I think we decided that no, there's no point in having this as a gym. We just wanted the corner. So I left the corner and knocked down every single other wall. Then I realised, why did I knock down the walls? They were
actually decent.
They were decent enough.
Imagine what they would have been now. I reckon they would have been filled with like just scribble, like us, like this. Not this isn't scribble, but like it would have just been like notes from like random stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Reflection, eh?
Reflection, evolution.
You look back and you go, fair out.
We have made some moves. But I feel like everyone makes a lot of moves. I feel like when you are working for someone, sometimes you don't have the autonomy to make your own decisions, right? You're stuck having to listen to someone else's process, follow that process, and you become a bit robotic with your day-to-day life. You have to wake up at a certain time, get to your job at a certain time, fulfill the same tasks every single day, and that's your routine, the creative routine, which is great, right? I would never be able to do that personally. I like creating my own routine, having a routine that's always molding to suit my current lifestyle, my current needs. And I feel like I would never be managed really well at a company where someone was managing me and telling me what to do, right? So my management style, I guess, is giving people freedom to kind of learn for themselves what it is, and I'm just guiding them to make the decisions themselves. That's how I've kind of always been as a manager. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I'm sure there's going to be people that might say, no, you need to make sure they're doing the right things, X, Y, Z. It's worked for me so far. It's worked for us. And I feel like that's the process that we kind of want to follow. I guess there's no right or wrong way to anything in life. That's the beautiful thing about life.
Well, see, we've been able to create a career for ourselves to a point where we have the autonomy to do our own scheduling. That's just the beauty of, starting something or jumping into the deep end of running a business. You eventually, after months and months and, nearly a year now of what we've been doing, to get to the point, or over a year, to get to the point of, okay, cool, I can do, I know I have to do these set tasks for this day, I have to call X, Y, Z, I have to do this, and then my day's done. Supposedly done for the day.
Supposedly done.
And you go for
and
the
you
next
can create
day.
work if you want.
Yeah.
I've always been a crazy guy for just creating myself first.
He doesn't stop. Every minute he's like, hey Ree, wanna do this? Hey Ree, wanna do that? Hey Ree, let's go. We're gonna do this.
Let's go record.
Brendon, let me know. 1 sec.
Let me sleep.
Yeah. 10 o'clock at night. Ree, I got an idea.
Oh, that's usually when I'm on my walks. So
He's on the
when I
walks.
go on, I usually go for walks at night. I love walking at night for some reason. And when I'm walking alone at night, I feel like that's when my biggest ideas come. And who do I call when I have those brilliant ideas? He's in bed ready to wake up early in the morning. I also have morning sessions as well, but I like going for my late night walks. So I'm on my late night walks and I'm like, hey Ray, I just thought the best idea. What do you think of this?
I was like, yes, Brendon, that's awesome. Really good.
That is
Just
a good
remember
idea,
to
but
tell
that
me
was-
tomorrow,
Yeah,
please.
tell me tomorrow. He asked me in the morning, what was your idea? Oh, I forgot. Ever since then, he's like, let me just listen to him so I can remind him in the morning, then he can go on his little tangent, and here we are.
Now, we struggled yesterday.
Struggled.
We struggled yesterday to get Fred again tickets.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I think doing it at the beach would be.
Nah, not even that. Just I was on there for a whole hour before.
And I got in. So I'm sure everyone would be able to understand this. Like they have like an artist or a singer or a producer, whatever it might be, that's coming to your hometown, that is going to produce some music, like a festival or event, whatever it is. If you know who Fred again is, he's from the UK. Where's he from the UK?
Yeah,
do you know?
no.
Anyways, he's from the UK. He's coming down to Sydney. He just randomly popped up in the Opera House, organised an event on the same day, and now he's just touring Australia somehow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the guy just rocked up in Australia. He's like, you know what, let's just start an event.
Yeah, well, that's literally probably what he did. And
I
he's like,
wouldn't be
oh, well,
surprised.
while I'm here, I'll just create a tour. Just pops up, 8 shows, 9 shows
Yeah, I
later.
know, some in Sydney, which is where we're from. Some in Melbourne, Perth, I think.
Yeah, that's I don't think I think it's just Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney. I think he's just doing the coast.
East Coast.
East
Okay,
Coast.
fair enough. Well,
But
anyways, we jumped on. 2 phones, 2 computers.
ready to go. We were scared to jump in the water because we were scared we'd miss it. So I was like,
We took
Brendon,
turns
I'm
jumping
going
in.
for a swim. You stay here and watch them. And then when I get back, you go for a swim. And we'd do them back and forth, back and forth.
That was funny.
Mind you, we were working as well. We were working.
We were working.
We worked before that, and then we sat on there for an hour, and then we went back to work.
What you got to remember, people take 1 hour lunch breaks as well.
True,
you know?
true. That was our break.
That was our little 1 hour lunch break.
Our little break. But it got me thinking the influence that people can have on just one person. Fred again. He's created music that's touched millions and millions and millions of hearts, minds, ears, souls, whatever you want to call it.
How many monthly listeners does he have?
Actually,
We have a lot.
That's a
I'm
good
sure we have
question.
a lot. By the way, like, we can say that about any artist. Like Taylor Swift
100%.
came. When was she?
She was here like last week.
Yeah, just last week or 2 weeks ago. And I was just seeing all over social tubes, I like to say it. She was all over social tubes with millions of people wanting to get tickets.
16.4 million monthly listeners.
Oh, well, there you go. So you get 16.4 monthly listeners. I'm sure T Swift is even more than that. But,
Let me check.
let's just do a
While I'm
cross-check.
here.
Might as well.
What the hell? 105.6 mil.
Yeah, so not surprised. So these artists obviously have massive influence. So when they say they're announcing a tour in your hometown, I'm sure everyone knows. Everyone knows, like, oh my God, my favorite artist is coming down. They message all their friends, hey, let's go to this event. They'll pay upwards of $200-300 just to go see them, and sometimes they won't even be able to see them. We got in to see Fred again tickets. I was the only one that actually got an entry to see the tickets. The only tickets available was at the back of the stadium,
Like,
and it has to be
literally top.
seated as well. And you can't be in the mosh. We like being in the mosh, so we were like, unfortunately, we just have to buy the resale tickets. So all the people that just try to ticket scourge you.
Yeah. Yeah, but as I said, it got me thinking, like, that's 2 people in the span of like a couple weeks. And then they also had a WWE event in Perth. And they were talking, I think it was on the news, they were talking about
Jake Paul, right?
Logan Paul, the other one.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But they were talking about
Shows how
how
much I'm across it.
they were talking about how these people have this economic shift in like these places. So like just over the weekend at the WWE event, there was 52,000 people per show, and there was 2 shows, I think.
Wow.
52K people. There were some people flying from Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. I know 2 mates that went to Brisbane just to like go there. But imagine 52,000 people. Let's say half of them came from other states, flew over there, had to pay for a couple days accommodation. That boosts the economy there because then they're paying for the food, they're paying for transport, but they're paying for this.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That's one event over 2 days. Taylor Swift, over the span of 4 days that she was here,
She would have
The
produced a lot of money.
They were
A lot of money.
the New South Wales train lines had Taylor Swift in the box of
I'm not surprised.
where was it? They had it You know when you go on a train that it comes up with the name? Instead of the name of the next station, it was just all stations to Taylor Swift. Like,
do you remember going to festivals and then they would barricade the line?
yeah.
And then they'd only open and then you can go into the
They'd like
train.
shuffle you like a herd of sheep.
Yeah.
Like, come on, this way, guys. All right, stop. All right, another. Okay.
Well, I saw a video on Instagram of the Taylor Swift one.
Yeah.
And then all these people just getting stopped at the gates, and I was like, man, gone are the days I remember doing that.
Far out. That was ages ago.
Good days.
Oh.
But yeah, it just goes to show that people with a lot of influence tend to move crowds and move money around in big areas. And you can see that in not only artists, music artists that people listen to every day, but you can see in WWE, which is entertainment. What would you call it? The entertainment area industry. Then you also see it with podcasters as well. Like I saw a podcaster recently announce a party. It was just a New Year's Eve event, so this was over a month ago. And I think he posted on his story on the day that he got 50,000 people want to come or something.
Jesus.
I don't know where those people were coming from. I'm sure like everywhere around Australia. But it just goes to show that people with influence are able to migrate crowds. And I feel like that is where the world is going in the future, or even right now. So you got presidents of the biggest economies like Trump, Vladimir Putin. I'm not going to keep on naming out these names because
Other ones.
in case I stuff them all up.
Other
right?
ones.
Other ones. Let's just say other ones. Obviously, you can say I'm not too much into politics. I truly believe people with more influence than those people, like your Mark Zuckerbergs,
Elon Musk's.
I feel like they actually have more power in the world than people like Trump. It's personally because people not really respect, but like they're gonna listen more to something that their favorite the Facebook owner says more than the government of their own economy, which is a bit. How you going?
It's
if I'm gonna say
it's crazy to think that some people that have
created a company and
have a monetary value that's equivalent or sometimes
they're
even
able to
more.
shift make big moves in the world.
Shift stock markets, shift people paying for products. Steve Jobs made a freaking iPhone. Now we're recording off it.
Yeah,
he made a complete shift in the whole world. Everyone has an iPhone. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry has an iPhone. Elon
Musk.
What
does that mean? That means they have control over what you do and everything that you do every day. Yeah. Right?
The world's shifting to electric.
And governments can try as much as possible to try and stop that from happening. I know the Chinese government, even Russian government, really try and hone in on not allowing people to have Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. So that they have their own different Instagrams and Facebooks.
So they're all honed in.
So it's just Instagram of Russia or Instagram of China. They're kind of trying to separate from the rest of the world.
The Western world.
But there's only so much you can do because a lot of the people, especially people around our age, are gonna want to still have the Instagram that the rest of the world has, right? Everyone wants to be a part of the rest of the world. They don't want to be segregated.
Outcasts.
Outcasts to everything. So they end up getting VPNs to say that they live in the US or Australia, for example, just to say I live there, so I can have Instagram now. Pretty crazy how that works.
It's just very different.
The power of influence.
The power of influence. You're reading a book on influence at the moment.
I am. So it's funny that I said that, the power of influence, because I'm actually reading a book called Influence. Funny enough, I've been reading it for the last 4 months, guys. So
explain that story that you told me the other day about there was an experiment that scientists did with a.
Oh wow. Okay, that was crazy, right? So I was on my flight back from Brisbane, and oh god, that was a weird read, honestly. So whenever I go on a plane, I
like the lobster
love
chapter.
reading. Yeah.
The lobster chapter in
I
what's his
love
name?
reading. I love reading when I'm on plane for some reason. It gets me actually back into the rhythm of reading somehow. So I feel like if I want to get back into reading, I should just catch a flight somewhere, even if it's a short flight, and then I'll probably kick back up my love of reading again. Anyway, so I was reading this book on the way back from Brisbane. It's only an hour and a half flight, so I wasn't reading a shit ton or like a big chapter. I think I read just half a chapter or so. And there was this experiment that this guy completed in the 80s, I think. Don't quote me on this if you have read the book. Just comment idiots in the comment section. So he was saying there was a researcher, and I guess that's the guy that conducted the experiment. And he picked two guys off the street. No, one guy off the street, and this person he picked off the street was considered the teacher, right? The student was a paid actor, and he's acting as if he's getting these electrical shocks. So what the experiment was, the student, which is the actor, is being asked a series of questions to memorize a sheet of answers to all these questions, right? He's given that sheet of answers, given 5 minutes to try and rote learn it as much as possible. Then the teacher gets the answers, and he asks the student the questions. Every time the student makes a mistake, the teacher has to provide a shock, but it's a fake shock. They actually have to physically pull the lever down, and it says it's shocking, and the actor just acts out as if it's getting shocked. So I'm assuming I'd do a shock. Yeah, start convulsing or whatever. After every mistake the student makes, the voltage increases by 15 watts. Now, over time, the actor is told to keep on making mistakes, and then eventually hits a point where he keeps on making more and more mistakes, and the student actually screams out, saying to the teacher, "Please stop. This is actually starting to hurt a lot." And the researcher tells the teacher, "Don't stop. This is part of the experiment. You have to keep on going." So the teacher, which is someone that just picked off at random off the street, has to continue doing their shocks, and he does. And he's just a normal person like you and me. So this was what was very shocking to me, because I just got that. This was what was shocking to me. This threw me off. I'm trying to get into the story.
Sorry.
This was shocking to me because I could never see myself continually shocking someone. If they told me to stop, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna stop." Even if someone told me, "Don't stop," I'd be like, "You do it then."
Yeah.
I'm not continuing with this. But apparently, according to this study, it was a normal person, just like you and me, that was in there, and they did it multiple times with different people. And then apparently he kept on going. The guy actually full passed out. The actor pretended to pass out, just to give you context, pretended to pass out. But to the teacher, he actually was fully passed out. Or he believed, he was saying that he was fully passed out, up dead. And continue asking the question. If he didn't answer, he believed it was an incorrect answer, he would continue shocking. It didn't stop at all. Got to 450 volts, and the researcher decided to quit the experiment, because he realised that the teacher would not stop. And I was like, what? The normal people are going to be crazy enough to continue shocking someone to death? I couldn't believe that until I started realising that it actually was true. They pulled up more random people and continued this experiment, and it kept on producing the exact same results. And the reasoning at the end for why this was happening was because people always listen to authority. You always listen to your boss. In this example, it was you were chosen for an experiment, and this is a researcher. So you're seeing the researcher as this important person telling you what to do and how to conduct the experiment and whatnot. And I guess people are don't want to disobey authority in that sense, and they continue fulfilling the role of the teacher in this example.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that they're hesitant to make that step to talk to an authority if they know something's wrong? Like if that teacher knew that they were going too far, why didn't they decide to go, no, I can't do this anymore? What's that like barrier that you reckon that stops them
I
or
don't
starts
know.
them?
That was shocking to me.
That was punny.
Honestly, I can't explain it. I can't wrap my head around it because I
'Cause
honestly truly believe that first off, I couldn't shock anyone to start off with. I would never be able to just pull a lever that
I think
shocks
the
someone.
first couple volts you'd be able to, but when you start
If it's
seeing
a little
someone like
you
little
know,
jolt, like a dog collar, like it was, you'd be like, oh, okay.
I'll do it to you.
Yeah, I
And you'll be
know.
like, fuck off.
Yeah,
And I'll do
but,
it again.
but like there'd be a limit obviously in your head where
Of
you chuck
course.
the remote
The
or whatever
moment that
it
you
is.
say like, "Oh, bro, this is hurting," I'll be like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
nah, I'm stopping,
I'm
man.
good.
Like, I don't care."
You went to Brisbane 2 days ago.
I did.
What did you think? What did you think?
You know what?
Been a while since you've been
I
there.
love Brisbane. No,
Why?
I've never been to Brisbane.
Why?
You know? I think I've been to Brisbane.
Oh, you went to Gold Coast.
I've been to Gold
so-
Coast many times.
But Brisbane, like the heart of Brisbane.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I went to Brisbane. I've been to Brisbane a couple of times with family. We were driving past to get to Fraser Islands.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like we actually drove from Sydney all the way through Brisbane. It wasn't really like, oh, let's stop in Brisbane. So I can't remember the last time I actually went properly to Brisbane. So on Wednesday, I flew up to Brisbane. We went there to hire some personal trainers for Dynamicrecov. So I was there holding some interviews there. And yeah, I had. What are you doing?
I'm just writing down ideas.
Anyway, so
table.
I went up to Brisbane and yeah, I had 5 interviews back to back. Look, if I'm going to be honest with everyone here, I don't know if they've held interviews or been a part of interviews themselves. Don't book in 5 interviews back to back. Give yourself some wiggle room. You told me this before I went.
I did.
You said, Brendon, you should probably give yourself 15 minutes in between. I was like,
Just
yeah, I should.
Just to go for a walk or like just to breathe in some fresh air.
Breathe in some fresh air, but I was sitting in the same spot for the whole 5.5 hours that I was there. You know, I was just back to back. So one would finish, one was already there to sit down. I was like, yep, all right, let's go. Start again. Same questions.
Let's go. Round 2.
Let's go, round 2.
Then
All
round
right,
3.
you've got to go. Someone else is here. But you know, it was a good experience. I feel like I learnt a lot from it because
What did you learn from it?
I went into that process of like flying up to Brisbane, holding those interviews. I was really nervous because I felt like I had some imposter syndrome. I didn't feel like I was important enough to kind of go on a full business trip and you know hold all these interviews, even though it is part of what we want to do, right? And then I realized like no one is able to do this the first time. You know, you have to do it at least once before you start doing it a second time and start getting good at it, right? It's like PT. When I first went to see my first ever client, I obviously had some imposter syndrome then as well. I was like, oh, you know, this person's older than me. I'm sure they've been exercising longer than I have, and I'm gonna come in here and tell them how to exercise better. I had some imposter syndrome, of course, and I guess I just had that going into these interviews as well. Like, I've held heaps of interviews in Sydney, but I feel like I'm comfortable
Outside
here.
of your
This is my
comfort
home.
zone.
You know, I'm inside my home. I'm like just going to my local cafe for these
Yeah.
things. Whereas I was stepping into a new territory.
A new state.
Yeah, new state. So yeah, it was a humbling experience. I liked it. Didn't really have much time to scratch my ass, but you know I got through it in the end. And one thing about Brisbane, right, and it makes me actually want to go back there, is there was this strip, right? It was like a street, like what we call strips is basically like a street of shops or cafes or restaurants or clubs or bars, whatever it is. Anyways, it was a strip of just heaps of pubs and bars and stuff, but they were like 3-story buildings and they were all outdoor awning settings, and I was like, wow, this gives me Europe vibes. Yeah, it was on the river as well. I was like, this is sick. Like, I wish there was something like this in Sydney. When I saw it, I was like, this would look sick in Sydney somewhere, but I don't know anywhere that we would be able to put it. George's River is pretty shit. Not gonna lie.
Sydney's just very like. Well, Sydney's just Sydney. You know, everyone just comes to Sydney for the Harbour Bridge
and the Opera House. I hardly ever see that shit. If I'm being honest. I live here. Lived here my whole life. So
I see it once in a blue moon, but like, well, that's
I'd probably go there. If we make a calculation, how many times would you say you go to the city? I can probably count on my hands. In a year's time, I'll probably go there at least 5 times.
When we were younger and going out and stuff, far out, we'd be there
every weekend.
But
to go clubbing and stuff. But now we don't really go clubbing, so
now it's just like.
Ever. Even if we go,
we've got to go over the Harbour Bridge to go somewhere on the other side.
Yeah, and it will take me a long time to do that. Like, why? Why am I going to North Sydney for? Okay? Let's go south.
Yeah.
Because we live more on the south side of Sydney.
Southeast.
Yeah, so the city for us is 20 minutes by train, 30 minutes by train.
Yeah.
Same by driving, I'd say. Even to get to the Shires around that same time. We're pretty much in the middle of the suburbs. We call it the inner west of Sydney. Yeah. And you've got like, the way we classify Sydney, it's got like area groupings, if you want to call it that. I don't know if I'm sure other cities have this exact same thing. I just don't know the terms for the other cities. But we've got like the eastern suburbs, which is where you would know most of the biggest beaches are. So Bondi, Bronte, Clovelly. What's your favourite out of all those?
My favourite beach?
In the eastern suburbs.
I've been going to Maruba recently. I haven't been in the water yet or done anything, but it's actually really nice. I know. Well, I've been training people. So
that's what you...
Yeah.
I was rigging out. I was like, so why do you go there?
Yeah. No, I went there last week and this week, and I don't know, I'm just like, I really want to just go there, jump in the water and relax for a bit. But I can't.
You know what? Bronte Rock Pools is sick.
Bronte Rock Pools is sick. Clovelly's really nice. Gordon's Bay
is mad.
That's really nice.
You have to be a good swimmer to go there.
Yeah. I like the Shire. Oak Park's really nice.
Salmon Hall's my beach.
Salmon Hall's his beach. Oak Park's like a lot chill, a lot more chill. His is really chill. I just think we're very, very fortunate to be very central to places like these, like some of the nicest beaches in the world. But
people know Sydney for the beaches.
For the beaches, yeah. True,
that's why they know Sydney.
For sure.
And we're beach bums, I'd say. Like summer for me, if you're gonna ask me what I do in summer, it's beach. You know, that's it. But you know what? Like, I love Sydney for that. I know there are a lot of people that don't even like the beach. You know? So maybe Sydney isn't the place that they would want to live anyway.
Sandy beach. Not many people
I don't like the sand. No.
I don't like the sand.
Why are we putting English accents on?
I don't know.
But anyways, yeah, so not everyone enjoys just going to the beach and going in the sand, right? It's not everyone's cup of tea. For us, it is. I love the beach. I love the sand. I love everything.
But then we also have the opportunity to go like hiking and stuff as well.
We don't have to travel too far to.
It's like an hour. Blue Mountains.
National Park.
National Park? No, 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
20 minutes. That's what I mean. Yeah, and it's a huge national park. Do you know how many walks there are there? I didn't realise my client is a massive hiker. She goes hiking almost every weekend. She keeps on telling me and showing me photos of all these mad walks, and they're in the national park. Granted, she starts from like Stanwell Tops, which is basically where Wollongong is, but you know, she tells me like some of these walks you can enter from, you know, Engadine and stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Engadine has a really good walk, like through the back. When I used to work there, we do trail runs, and
trail runs.
Like trail runs?
Yeah, trail. Yeah.
And there's...
I've seen trail runners, you know?
Yeah.
Trail runners are cool. They always wear fluoro stuff. It's always tripped me out. Like, what's with the fluoro stuff in the trail running?
Engadine has some really nice runs. But you can start in, like, the top of Engadine and end up, like, towards Helensburgh, which is, like, a lot further, like, just through a national park. You have to cross one road.
Right, okay.
But there's actually heaps good walks. It's so hot. I'm dying. This heat has been so indecisive.
Incapacitating.
Is that the word? The heat has been incapacitating. Yeah. Okay. We'll go. All right. Yeah.
I'll start reading, bro. It's like I've increased my vocab.
Yesterday was what, nearly 35, 40 degrees. Today is like 30.
They're saying that yesterday was the last day of the beach. Don't think so. I feel like I'm still going to be going to the beach even in winter. I'll be that one crazy
cold
guy
plunger.
that jumps. Yeah, cold plunger, mate. I'll just
Go
jump
for a
in the
run and
water.
jump in the water.
Oh, I'll be hot as on my run,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah, and I'll be looking hot too. Hit me up. Plug myself.
Please don't. Oh, I'm losing train of thought. But overall, I think this podcast has
definitely evolved.
It's evolved.
I guess what we came to a conclusion on, we didn't actually have any plan for this podcast today, but what we both came to a conclusion on is we're PTs. We love talking about health. We love talking about fitness. I know we didn't talk about it much in this podcast, but there are going to be podcasts where we do talk about that stuff.
And we get guests on that
Might be in that world or whatever, but we're more than just PTs. And we like to talk about our experiences through every wake of life. I talked to you guys today about how I went to Brisbane as a HR manager. I like to call myself a HR manager because that's sort of what I do. I work full time as one.
Through our experiences of businesses and business ventures like Dynamicrecov, and it's just good to sort of talk about something that isn't always 100% PT related.
It is.
It's good to just talk like this and just
It
get
is.
shit
And
off.
we talk like this all day long.
We do.
So
We do.
if you're brushing your teeth right now and listening to my beautiful voice, I have been told that my voice, especially when I'm really tired, sounds ASMR.
Just hold the mic next to your mouth and just...
Alright guys, listen up, alright. We're going to be closing up the podcast for this week. Very soon, and I'm saying in 3 weeks from today, we are going to be posting our first podcast for you guys. So you'll be hearing us live. What I want you to do is send us an email and tell us what your experience was and where you actually heard the first podcast. What do you think people are going to be mainly hearing our podcast? Because I mainly listen to podcasts when I'm driving.
I think for now we can just do YouTube, but I think moving forward, hopefully we can get somewhere in the popular range where we can jump on Spotify. But for now, we're not going to think too big because it's just starting.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. There's Spotify.
Let's just start with this. So read a book, read The Power of Influence, learn about shocking people, and you'll make shocking results. That's pretty much the whole summary of today.
Yes. Read The Power of Influence. It's a good book. I've been reading it on and off for the last 4 months, to give you a preface. It took me going on a flight to actually start reading it again. So for that, we love and leave you. From the Evolv podcast, we'll see you soon.